We're
It's
live.
food related, isn't it?
Yeah, we're live. Welcome everybody. We're talking crisps at the moment, so I had to start the webinar a little bit early just because I didn't want to lose the key parts of the conversation. So, ready sorted crisps, Phil.
Oh yeah, the king of crisps, king and
Do,
queen of crisps, both together. Yeah. What
do,
more
do,
do you want? You want your fried potato, bit of salt.
do you go for the sort of very traditional little bag of salt that you pour in and then do the whole shaky bit?
Oh no, oh, I've not done that. No, not done that for years. Not done that for
You
years. Are But you you are just you mentioned passing that on? Wotsits, and I'm anti Wotsits.
they're not real
They get
crisps.
all stuck in your
Yeah,
teeth, and then oh no, no,
yeah. No,
not my thing.
no, I'm
We
with
were
you.
not, yeah, we were not allowed crisps as kids that were not authentic potato based, i.e., any of this maize malarkey was not allowed. Had to be. And funnily enough, my this will be a good one. Some people may remember these, some people may not. There was a Welsh crisp company called Benson's who made hedgehog flavored crisps.
Hedgehog.
I was telling my kids about this the other day, and they were like, "What?" And they obviously didn't think there were my kids didn't think there were hedgehogs in it, but I remember the fuss at school that people were getting up in arms about the fact they put hedgehogs in crisps. And,
Yeah. So hedgehog flavored crisps.
yeah.
There's not a lot of chat going on, or is this
I was
me?
going to say I'm just testing the chart to make sure it's working.
Oh,
But
they are Tudor crisps. Yeah. Well, Gary's over in Ireland, isn't he? So we'll get onto the old
yeah.
potatoes in a minute.
Oh,
Yes. So yes, good morning, everybody. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well. Welcome to today's 12 ATs. Um, obviously, Liam, yes, you are in the crisp accessibility webinar. It was started by uh, my kids. It's a long story. Anyway, basically, we got to cheese toasty flavored Wotsits, which is completely new one on me, but they are pretty darn special. So hence we sort of started the webinar a little early today just to get the crisp conversation in there, which was only slightly preceded by the beard conversation as well. And yeah, if I don't know if anybody on well, Phil was mentioning his friend who cut his beard off and looked like his dad.
yep. And his dad's 80, so he grew it back pretty quickly.
Does I don't know if anybody on the call today knows Jodie Parks, who's down south and has a remarkable sort of big white beard. Used to have the proper sort of handlebar, sort of waxed sort of curls going on. And a few months ago, I joined him on a call, and he chopped his beard off.
Look
Weird,
different, didn't he? Totally
really
different.
weird.
Hey,
Yeah,
Is he dodging the law for some reason? Is there a reason why he's trying to disguise himself?
it's a complete mystery, I have to say. It's and I'm sorry, Jodie, if you're on or anybody knows about Jodie. But I think it makes Jodie look older as well. I think the beard helped. But yeah,
I'm
I don't know.
saying that the crisp conversation is going off in the chat now. I'm not sure about gingerbread Doritos, Ryan. Ryan Peacock, Brannigan's roasted beef. There's an old flavour.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they were good. You can't get them
Um,
anymore, can you?
let's chuck one out there. Prawn cocktail.
Yeah.
See, it just yes. Gary's gone yes.
Yeah.
Uh, my partner cut his beard last year. Oh, okay. Oh,
Ryan loves
that's
a bit of prawn
Hannah, isn't it?
cocktail.
I was trying to work out from the team who that was. Brian Bowes, love prawn. Partial. Everybody's partial to a bit of prawn cocktail crisps.
I mean, I like a prawn cocktail, but I'm just not sure about prawn cocktail crisps.
Mmm.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem, this is maybe an existential issue here, that a lot of crisps don't taste like the thing that they say they
No.
taste. Like chicken crisps
No.
don't taste anything like chicken. They taste like beef or something. Beef crisps don't taste like beef.
Yeah. It
You
is
know,
weird.
you might like that crisp flavor, but it doesn't mean taste anything like the thing. Or
Mm.
apart from maybe the roast beef and mustard mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
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 Do taste, well, definitely mustardy. I'm not sure about the beef, but
Oh, Worcester sauce flavour crisps. Oh, I love those.
oh yeah. Oh, maybe they do.
Yeah.
Maybe there's flaws in my
Oh,
argument here. You're picking out, but
Yeah.
nah. Sammy Joe's gone the same as me. There you go. See,
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm
I
just
think
gonna
we could
so
do this
for
next
anybody
year.
who's new to the 12 ATs, we generally fill the first five minutes-ish because we're waiting for people to join. Everyone's still coming into the chat in the meeting room at the moment. So don't think you're in the wrong sort of 12 ATs if we're sort of discussing crisps at the moment. It's an important topic. Marmite Walkers, yes, do love a Marmite crisp. Yeah, no, doing that. There's one I just want to pick up. I think it was Rebecca Jones just mentioned the pink sort of cocktail crisps to do more with the fact that they're pink than necessarily anything else. I was chatting to one of the parents of our kids' friends, and she was holding her hands about her kids who were sort of 5 and 6 running around singing the whole sort of Pink Pony Club song without really getting the meaning of what the whole Pink Pony Club is all about. But yeah. Anyway, back to the crisps. It's yum. Yeah, I'm with Hannah. Um, right, anybody. It's wheat crunchies. Oh, not seen those in a long time.
Wheat.
Yeah.
Do they still exist? This is sort of turning into old men talk about crisps they used to love.
We'll be on to sweets later. We'll be on to Monster Munch and Highland Toffee bars, if anybody ever remembers a Highland Toffee bar.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
This is all going wrong, isn't it? Anyway, for the next hour, everybody, let's all reminisce about things from the past.
No, Hannah Gibson, as I said, has just smashed it actually with the knickknacks. No, they were the thing. They were absolutely spot on. I'm with Hannah on the knickknacks. Spicy, whatever it was.
Dylan's gone Frazzles, which is a very good shout.
Yeah, Liam's had a Rolo for the first time in over 10 years. I want to know who Liam gave his last Rolo to, or whether he scoffed it himself. Liam, we need to know the answer to that if I remember the old adverts.
Or was the one he found it down the back of a chest of drawers from 10 years ago?
Or it could be the last one from a beloved who has said, "Yep, she was my last Rolo." You know,
I hate to interrupt, gentlemen, but I do have to highlight this one. I'm not sure, Alexandra, if can we ban people from the chat? She's Scampy Fries. Scampy Fries has made its way onto the crisp list there.
Rude. Right, we are going to move on because otherwise we will talk crisps. But tomorrow we will do chocolates. So good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well. Yes, I know you eat well after a couple of pints, Ryan. So here to welcome Fil McIntyre to today's 12 ATs. Phil, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure to be invited. Thank you.
No, it's absolutely. I mean, I knew of Phil for probably many years before I ever met Phil, and then randomly we bumped into each other on a plane last year, which was it last year? I think we were heading to
January this year.
January. Well, yes. Oh, sorry, yeah, less than 12 months ago then. So yeah, no, pleasure to welcome you. And are you and the family all ready for Christmas?
No, is the short answer. Although my daughter, who's 13, keeps saying that she's surprised at how organised we are. So that's obviously maybe a good thing for this year, but it shows how disorganised we might have been in previous year. But the tree's not up yet, but some presents are bought. Although there's a really nice down the road from us, about a mile down the road from us, there's a place where they grow their own trees, and you go and you choose your tree. You literally pick your tree. So we went down a few weeks early because we're normally too late and get a scraggly old one. We went and we chose the tree and we got our name on it and tag on it, so that then on Sunday coming up we can go and cut it down and bring it home. So so for us that's good. That's
a lovely little idea for Christmas. That is, and probably better than the pumpkin picking idea, which everyone seems to go for, where the farmers just randomly spread pumpkins around the field and then you pretend you're going to pick. It's just like you could have gone into Asda's, but
yeah. There's a reason there was a system for that, but yeah, this is quite nice. And the place raises money for cancer research. So it's it's great. It feels like you're doing good rather than just randomly cutting down a tree and putting it in your house.
That's a fair comment. Yeah,
and at least you're doing it a bit closer to Christmas. I think we only ever had the real Christmas tree where we got it way too early. By the point of Christmas, it was looking decidedly quick based.
Just needles on the floor by Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. So, I mean, doubly welcome to Phil today, and our thanks, because you've been a bit poorly this week after your son brought home lurgy from school.
Ramp up the sympathy, Anthony. That's great. No, I'm quite a bit better now. But yes, the joy of children bringing home with bugs in the
Mm,
winter.
yep.
Um, and so yeah, so he's still at home, lazing around downstairs, probably watching a film,
Yeah.
recovering. He's genuinely ill, I think. But yeah, while I was like, oh, well, I better get back to work.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Well, it's good. One of you's at home to conduct the parental activities. So, no, very good for you. Thank you. Thank you. So, I've got to ask the question. So, I know your history in assistive technology is extensive, and your name cropped up in conversation with Hector Minto yesterday, who's been around since, well, I won't say the dawn of time because he won't appreciate that. But I know Hector's experience goes back a huge distance, as does yours, Phil. What brought you into this industry?
Um, yeah, well, it's kind of you to point out my age, Anthony. I noticed this on the LinkedIn posts the other day as well. Oh, Phil's had more than 20 years, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I guess probably in terms of time in the industry, Hector may have been around about the same time.
Mm.
I kind of, without really wanting to bore anyone, but I ended up in assistive technology accidentally,
Mm.
like I think an awful lot of people do. Yeah, and I know loads of people who just happen to be. So I was working at what's now Seashell Trust in Manchester, big specialist school and college. Um, and back then it was called Royal Schools for the Deaf, and the Queen was the patron.
Wow.
And it was very she came one day, but that's a separate story. Sorry, um, but yeah, and I was working there as a learning support assistant, and then I noticed that the technology wasn't really going that well in teaching classes and in the residential settings,
Mm.
and I had a bit of a techie background. So one day I said, well, why don't you make me a job where I support both the teachers and the students
Mm.
in using technology effectively. And they said yes. So that sort of happened. And I was called, what was I called? I was called an ICT tutor.
Okay.
Back when ICT became a thing, it was IT
Mm.
and then it was ICT and then
Yep.
yeah, so they gave me a job, um, and it was great. I got a lot of time spent with students. I remember a really key moment where I felt I was making a difference, and it was just
Mm.
something really simple where there was a young woman who had a visual impairment, and she had a lot of useful vision that she could use, but she couldn't see the mouse pointer. And this was my early days, so I was like, there must be something we can do about this. So I enlarged the mouse pointer, and I did that thing that you can still do in Windows, where if you hit the control key and it does like a bloop, like a radar blip around the
Yep.
mouse pointer.
Mm.
And her problem was this young woman, Emma, that she kept losing the mouse pointer and she then couldn't pick it up. So even though I made it really big, it would be
Yeah.
over here on the screen and she couldn't see it. So I showed her this trick of hitting control and it would do this radar blip and she would find the mouse pointer and she'd be
Mm.
off working. And that was like, oh, okay, this is sort of, I don't know, in hindsight, it feels like one of those, this is what I'm meant to do. It feels like
Yeah.
making a difference just through knowing how to work this stuff.
Yeah.
Rosie's saying that can use that control feature to find out where you might. Oh, across multiple monitors. Yeah, brilliant for
Mm.
that. Brilliant for that.
Yeah.
Where's your mouse pointer gone?
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. I want to know how many people on the call today have suddenly tried hitting their sort of buttons on the keyboards to work out where their mouse is. I think. Yeah.
You
So,
have to turn it on. It won't just do it. You've got to.
nah, you'll have to share the
But
instructions
it's
later. So,
yeah,
yeah,
it's in
Liam
the
did. So, yeah.
press the Windows key and U, and you'll get to all those settings and be totally distracted from this
I was going to
radar.
say, don't do that yet. Save that
Yeah.
for in a minute. But fab. So, I mean, obviously, as you say, it's funny how we so many of us have fallen into this sector and never wanted to leave. Likewise, my sort of introduction to the sector was completely by accident, as I know Matt's was as well. And yeah, I suspect, I think for so many of us, we didn't even know that there was such a thing as assistive technology, and that there was a need out there to that we could help. So So yeah, no, it's fascinating. So what took you on from there after the school?
Um, uh, well, after that, I got a job with Inclusive Technology,
Mm,
the legendary assistive technology company that have been around for way longer than I have even. Um, and yeah, they had a spot on their training and consultancy team. So I used to, I, I think I must have been in like half of the special schools across the UK, probably
yeah.
more,
Wow.
delivering training on their inset days. And then we did some consultancy for schools and colleges when they wanted to really like look at integrating assistive technology into their strategy
Yeah.
and approaching, digital. And again, this is in the 2006 to 2010. So people are getting on board with becoming
Mm,
digital in schools, but also obviously in those specialist settings, they really want to make sure their students can access it.
mm.
So we did quite a lot of consultancy around that. And then I don't know whether you remember the Building Schools for the Future.
Oh yes. Yeah.
It was like a public-private partnership,
Mm,
PPP, one of those, and with mixed results, it has to be said, again in hindsight, but there was a lot of local authorities were
mm,
expanding and getting lots of money in to build new schools, and digital was a big part of that. Or again, ICT as it was called back then, a big part of doing that. So some of those schools were special schools, and they wanted consultancy around that. So yeah, I did a lot of driving in that job.
I think it's fascinating how so many sort of schools that were focusing on additional needs was some of the very early adopters of technology and assistive technology in many cases, more so than mainstream schools.
I think it's really, I mean, even to go back to my little tale about Emma and her mouse pointer, and there were multiple tales of that, even
Mm,
within that one setting, within that one school and college. Um, but that's where you see the impact.
mm,
And if that impact's so large that then that student can then just get on with their work, whereas previously they couldn't, and they can do that through technology. And this is one of my mantras. Really, we think about, not we, but sometimes people think about assistive technology being, how do I plug stuff in or get the software so I can make that computer work for me? And that's half of it. The
yeah.
other half of it is, how can I get that technology to enable me to do what I want to do? And it's the difference between access to technology and
Mm,
access through technology. And those things cross
yeah.
over. It's not as simple as one or the other, or some and some, but you see that a lot for,
Mm,
you'll have met so many people, Anthony and Matt, that they go, right, you found a range of solutions. Okay, that means I can get on with what I need to. And if that technology wasn't there, it would be a lot harder or maybe impossible.
Yeah.
no, very true. It's a fascinating distinction as well. That sort of through technology rather than yeah, really is. I mean, I think my personal sort of experience of assistive technology in the sort of the sector that I've probably most engaged with in the past is obviously sort of around, not obviously, but is around sort of neurodiversity, and some sort of visual impairment, hearing impairment side of things. Whereas the access technology is for people with physical requirements, much less so. And something I really need to learn more about. I must be honest. It's something that's always intrigued me. I learned, funny enough, where we met at ATIA earlier this year. That's where I probably learned most about AAC and that side of things.
Right. I'm sure we've met before, Anthony, but
Oh,
anyway.
we have. Oh, no, we
Yeah,
definitely met
right.
before that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my memory is quite bad. So I was thinking, I'm pretty sure I'd met Anthony
Oh,
before.
no, we have. Yeah, no. When we saw each other, our eyes met across that plane. It wasn't the first time. So,
You've probably been trying to blank it out for years, Phil, and now it's just all coming back to
Well,
you.
yeah, and then yeah, you sit down on a plane and think you're going to have a few hours peace, and you turn around and there he is.
Exactly.
there's a
Exactly.
few of us. Yeah, I seem to remember. Yeah, that was a very enjoyable flight actually. But
Yeah,
yes.
it was good. It was good.
So
Good old catch up.
yeah. I mean, one of the main things that we know you for at the moment is TechAbility as well. How's that gone this year?
The TechAbility conference. So
Mm,
this is a bit. I feel like I often have to point this out, and who the other organisation, Communication Matters, they have to
of
do the
course.
same. That they're not just the conference, and so TechAbility. But I can live with it because it's a lot of what we're known for. So the conference happened in November, 19th of
Mm,
November, um, and we've been growing year on year. We do uh, a fairly standard conference, I would say, to a certain extent. There's presentations from practitioners. There's an exhibition. AT Superstore were there this year. Um, and what we try and do as well, though, is introduce ways of getting people to talk to each other. Um, so it's fair to say sometimes at conferences you can feel like you go to a conference and you go presentation, presentation, presentation.
mm,
But we were finding that a lot of the feedback we got was people said they wanted more space to talk to each other and
yeah.
not just here. So we introduced this thing called Hot Topics, where you get 15 minutes on one topic and then 15 minutes on another topic. And there's some things set out
Mm,
that are topics that are predetermined, and you can get in a little huddle and talk about that, or you can start your own. Um, and I think it's a critical part of assistive technology, and it probably harks back to what you just said, Anthony, around there's so much breadth. So people know about this bit of assistive technology. It might be visual impairment, hearing impairment. They don't necessarily know about the others. But then if they're working in care or
mm,
education, they might be supporting people with such a wide range of requirements. So it's a chance for people to
mm,
go, right, I'm new to this. How can you help me? What do you do? And just exchange a bit of information with each other, and then hopefully make links, and
yeah.
then go and see each other's settings, go visit each other's schools and colleges,
Oh,
go in person. So that's good. And then this year we had an amazing keynote from I don't know whether you've heard of the Music Works, who were based
mm.
in no, not Bristol, uh, Gloucester.
Oh, yes.
And they do loads of accessible music for people with neurodiversity, people with physical
Mm,
disabilities, right across the range, people with anxiety who wouldn't normally access normal music services, if you like,
mm,
standard music services. So they did a great keynote, which was the least keynote thing you'd ever seen. They had those carrots thing on the makey makey and had people playing music on carrots. Um, a guy up eating one of the carrots to see if it changed the notes, and everyone was on their
mm.
phones on an app, all joining in and making stuff. Kirstine was there. It was a fabulous
Yeah,
keynote. Yeah, really good. And we do our keynote after lunch to make sure that everybody's arrived.
that's a good
Um,
idea.
and it was a great way
And
after
awake.
people have sort of eaten a bit, and then they were like, you couldn't ignore anything that was going on stage. It was brilliant.
I'm fascinated by the carrots. I wish I could picture this. I'm not
Well, can you picture a carrot?
with you.
Right,
Yep.
so that's step one. Step one, and then basically little electrodes that they plug into the carrot. Anything that will pass a current through it,
Okay.
which a carrot will because it's mostly
Yeah.
water, and then it's connected. They connect it up to this makey makey device, and then they plugged it into some music processing software, MIDI type software,
Yeah.
and then you can tune them to a scale, and you can play the carrots. Um,
Genius. I've got to
Brilliant.
be honest. I've definitely learned something new today.
yeah, well, if you haven't got enough Christmas presents for the kids,
I'm thinking about me.
oh yeah, or put it on your list. Yeah, yeah, put it on your list.
I mean, there's probably a whole load of questions there around, the type of carrot. Is it different
Mm,
sound from a particular type?
mm. I think
Uh,
some experiments we need to run there.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I think there's some serious scientific experiments that
Mm,
need running there, or you could just make some music and enjoy it, Matt.
yeah.
I don't know instead
Yeah.
of
it's got me thinking. It's got me thinking now. Actually, especially probably actually, if Lucy, perhaps we should pass this on to Lucy for Anthony that all he needs for Christmas this year is a bag of carrots, and
yeah,
he can work the rest out himself.
yeah, yeah. Let him do the technical side. Just give him a bag of carrots. Will be fine.
I
Yeah.
think that if Ed is the only person who gets the carrots in this house is Rudolph and the rest of the reindeer. That's Yeah, don't think not popular in this house, but there you go. People. So TechAbility, just to sort of for those who've never sort of been, is it quite a broad church in terms of assistive technology? Do you have a sort of primary focus, or?
As an organisation, our primary focus
Mm.
is specialist FE
Right.
and adult care. So
Yeah.
those two areas, because that's where our funding comes from primarily. Um, so we're part funded by the Ian Carton Charitable
Mm.
Trust, who fund a lot of assistive technology centres around the country. Um, um, so we support those centres
Mm.
by giving them free consultancy and discounted training and visiting and support when they need. Um, but we're also part funded by Natspec, which is the membership body for specialist colleges.
Yep.
So those two
All right.
things come together. But we're not restricted to
Mm.
necessarily just those sectors. So we provide training and support into schools, into adult care that aren't necessarily linked to those organisations. And more, we're getting inquiries from mainstream, especially mainstream further education, but also mainstream schools as well, because they're seeing the value of assistive technology and they want to look at how they can integrate it well rather than
Mm.
feeling like it's a bolt on. So
Yeah.
you sometimes feel like you're what's the word, saying the same thing again and again, but it's needed because people
Yes.
are everybody wakes up at a different time, if you like, to this stuff, and then generally it's because someone will see something in their school or
Mm.
in their care setting and they'll go, oh, hang on, that works for this individual and that individual. Could we put things in place that mean it will work for everyone? And how can we change our strategy rather than just how can we pick off these individuals? Can we change it so that all our staff know what they're doing to a certain extent, rather than just seeing it as a kind of little bits here and there?
Yeah, I think that's the important thing to remember. Everybody is on a different stage of their sort of inclusivity and accessibility journeys. And when you're coming into this, and I think like I say, sometimes you do feel like you're saying it again and again, but equally, people are coming in all the time, and people have needs that come to them over time. And I think maintaining our sort of um, amplification of those messages and that information is crucial to what we do. And
Yeah.
no, that's really interesting. And go
I think that, and what's sometimes forgotten by funders and people that are putting strategies in place. I mean, right at the top
on.
is the amount of staff turnover in education and
Of course.
care. It's massive. And I think, oh, Kareen, hi Kareen, remembers me when I worked at the Bright Initiative in Scotland, and that was 4 years. And we were funded by the Scottish government, and
Mm.
I think it was a great organisation that we provided support, um, training for staff who were supporting disabled students in further education. And obviously, I did the assistive technology side of things.
Mm.
But after I've been there 4 years, I hope it wasn't my fault, but the Scottish government said, "Oh no, the funding's coming to an end," um, and there was almost it wasn't they didn't phrase it like this, but there was almost a kind of, well, you should have trained everybody by now. The organisation had been going 10
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
8 years, 10 years, and well, everybody and we managed to get another year's funding out of them by just saying, look, that's not quite how it works, you
no,
know.
no.
And even if you do train people and if they don't use that,
Mm.
then a year later they've forgotten and they need some reminders and they need refreshers. That's how learning works. But they weren't convinced. But that was a case in point really, where it felt like, well, you should have trained all these people by now, and we trained an awful lot of people. But you know, people
Yeah,
retire, people leave,
absolutely.
new people come in.
Yeah,
It's a constant need to skill people up really.
yeah. No. Always we refer to it as a churn rate, and there's people coming in, there's people going out, and and the technology changes, our understanding changes, the way that we can integrate assistive technologies and apply them in people's lives, or working environments, or self-care. Always on the move. So
Yeah.
no, I think it's true. Just a question from Jerry Anderson: do you see assistive technology and supports for elderly or medical needs? He's done more lately with stroke victims than students. So
Yeah, Jerry, not something that I often deal with personally, but I think that it's a key that's a key point around the fact that we're all just this far away from being disabled, and whether that comes through age, whether that comes through an accident or a medical need, um, we the same assistive technology supports that are out there are perfectly applicable for people who are coming to them. And I think that where I've seen that sort of through personal contacts is people who might years ago have been considered elderly, but they're 60. We don't consider elderly people to be 60 years old to be elderly now. But
not
they're also
anymore.
people who've been around digital stuff throughout most of their life, and it's not unusual. People maybe in their 80s now find it harder to get on board with digital assistive technology, not all the time, but often. But now people are coming through and they're experiencing those things that come with age, and therefore will be happier. So it should be more straightforward, not to introduce those kind of digital technologies for people as they're getting older that previously might not have been applicable because it would have been too much overwhelm for that individual.
No, very true, very true. Well, I think I don't remember the statistics and I don't have them to hand, but in terms of the acquired disability and sort of how that sort of comes to us all over sort of time and age, and there's that sort of assumption by some quarters that disability is or those with disabilities are a nice fixed discrete body of people, and
Yeah.
that's those guys over there, and it's not it's any one of us at any time, and for any number of reasons, just the fact we're getting older. So we're not going to
Just Anthony, just speaking to that kind of training and skilling point, can I just do a quick screen share?
all
Um,
yours.
Yeah.
there's a resource that we produced that is free. Everybody loves free stuff, but hopefully it's useful free. But this is the TechAbility standards that's on our website, techability.org.uk. And it's just a way of your measuring your organization
Oh wow.
and thinking about, have you got what you need in place in order to support people with assistive technology? And we've found, especially in education, but also some care settings have been using this as a bit of a benchmark, really. Not a benchmark, that's the wrong term. Uh, uh, but a baseline is the term I'm looking for, sorry.
Yeah.
To be able to go, okay, what have we got in place around assessment? What have we got in place around physical access skills, and what tools do we need? And interestingly, one around CPD and training for staff. So acting as a little bit of an audit maybe, and a baseline to go, right, where are gaps in our organization? If someone came in tomorrow and they had a visual impairment, would we might not have all the kit in place, but would we at least know what we might need to support that individual, or to ask the right questions when they came through the door? So it's just worth pointing that out to people, and that's, as I say, free for people to use and free to access. I'll bung the link in the
I was going to say, please pop it in the
chat.
chat.
Right.
That'd be very much appreciated. Yeah, awesome.
And we're always open to things like that. If you've got feedback on that, or you think there's something we've missed, or something that's outdated and needs updating, we update it every now and then. But obviously we don't know everything, and you might find that you think something extra should be in there. Just get in touch. The details are on the website, and we can have a chat about that. That'd be great.
No, that's perfect. I think there's one other thing I want to sort of squeeze into our conversation today, because I think it's incredibly important, possibly to many of our people on the session today and those watching again. The Professional Association of Assistive Technologists, something we discussed when we met a week or so ago.
Yes, so this is new. So if you haven't heard of this, then that's good. Good you're here, because so how this came about, the professional association. If you think about occupational therapists, speech and language therapists, They have their professional bodies, and they're highly formalised and have existed. The Royal Colleges, they're called, aren't they? Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists. And there's a good few people in the sector who've been feeling for years that there isn't anything like that for assistive technologists. So we were discussing at the beginning, people end up in this career accidentally, and there's no kind of formalized pathway necessarily to coming into it. So then anybody could turn up. I could turn up to any random school or care setting and say, "Hi, I'm an assistive technologist. I can help you with all of this accessible technology," and hopefully I could. But there's no standard there. Whereas if an occupational therapist did that, you'd say, "Oh, okay, can I see some credentials, please?"
Yeah.
And also, you might want to ring first rather than just turning up at the door, because that's really odd. So what we wanted to do. So there's TechAbility, and then an organisation called the Carton Network, and then Leonard Cheshire, a big charity for disabled people, and then also Jane Seal from the Open University, and we've started to form this professional association of assistive technologists. Let me put there's a very basic website that I'll put in the chat here, so people have got a bit of a reference there. But the idea is that then people join this association and sign up to a core set of principles, and then show how they meet a core set of competencies, and therefore they can say, "I am a member of the professional association." So we're not, I need to say this very strongly, we're not saying deciding who is and who isn't an assistive technologist, because it's not a protected title like OT and speech and language therapist. We're not saying who is and who isn't. But what we're saying is, if you meet the criteria for this organization, we can say that independent people have said you meet a certain level of standards and you sign up to a core set of principles, and therefore an employer or an assistive technology user or someone who might be getting an assistive technology assessment has some reassurance that you have met a key criteria, and sign up to these things. So the maybe hang on, I did have
Yeah,
a
I'm just going to
slide here.
reshare the links only because as a panelist, sometimes you only
Yeah.
send it to the panel. So I'm just going
Oh,
to
sorry, did I send it to the wrong one?
Well,
Okay, that's great. Matt's
yeah,
shared it.
just done it now.
lovely job.
Brilliant. So just to give people an idea maybe of the, if I can make my screen share work, what I'm talking about with these principles and competencies is probably the kind of thing you might expect. So user-centered practice should be at the heart of everything we do. It should always be about how is this going to benefit the user of assistive technology. Also thinking about evidence-based practice, sometimes tricky in assistive technology because there's not a lot of evidence out there, but there's an increasing amount of research being done. So are we using evidence? Are people continually developing their own practice? Are they then contributing back to the community? So doing things like turning up for webinars and wittering on about crisps and, standard community practice stuff.
Important things.
Important stuff,
Exactly,
important
and
stuff.
beards and everything. But the idea being then that there's kind of a standard there, and it would also seeks to benefit people who call themselves assistive technologists, not just the end users, because then you can go to your employer or a potential employer and say, "Look, I meet these standards. You deserve to pay me a fair wage for what I do, or you did deserve to recognize my expertise within a wider team." A lot of assistive technologists sit within a multidisciplinary team, managers, speech and language therapists, parents, individuals, that kind of thing. So having their expertise recognized is really important. I'll just stop that share. So early days for that, but it's, to me, as we've already mentioned, I've been doing this a long time. I'm very old, but rather than it feels like this is something that's been a long time coming,
Definitely.
and it will grow. Currently, we're running some pilots for people to test out the membership process and the criteria that are needed, and to give us some feedback. And then at some point, beginning of 2026, spring probably, then we'll launch application processes. And you can, sorry, the other thing I should say, that website that Matt helpfully put in, pa-at.org, there's an expression of interest form on there. So if you register your details, when the actual launch happens, we'll get in touch.
Both Sammy, Joe, and Alex have already done so.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, the actual application process will be a little bit more complex than the form you just filled in, Alex and Sammy Joe. But that's the point. It's a bit like so Matt and Anthony, you'll know this, and a lot of other people will know when you are interviewing people for jobs. You often ask, tell me about how you did this, and what you're looking for is evidence of how they did that. You're not looking for an enthusiasm for why they might or how they could. You want to know, tell me how you have done that, or tell me how you would do that. And that's very much the basis behind PAT, as the acronym is calling it. It's a bit of an unfortunate name, but anyway, PAT, that people have to say, right, well, I did this, this is how I would approach it, this is how I meet the criteria.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic, and genuinely, it's something that we as Aventido and our companies are going to be supporting wholeheartedly. I know we're going to get the team on this. One of the things we've recognised throughout the years we've worked in this, whether it's through our work with BATA or work with DAT Europe or working with the guys over in the US, whatever, is how much people still don't even know there is such a thing called assistive technology, let alone that there are people who are assistive technologists. So the opportunity to professionalize that and to raise the awareness of that, I think, is incredibly valuable. So from our side, thank you, Phil, for being part of bringing this out.
So, I mean, my long-term dream might be it will take a while, but there could be a career path, a bit like students might come through school and and college thinking, oh, I want to train to be a speech and language therapist. I want to train to be an occupational therapist. Could there be a similar pathway? People saying, I want to train to be an assistive technologist, because they see it as a core part of that delivery to support people who have those requirements.
Yep.
Longer term dream, maybe.
No, I think that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. That really is a huge takeaway from this week, and delighted to be part of the early sort of awareness of that. So no, appreciate that, Phil. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we're getting on for 42 minutes in. People are going to want their lunch, and Phil's probably starving. He's got a poorly son to go and look after as well.
He can sort himself out. He's fine.
Yeah. How old is your son?
15.
15. Oh, yeah, in which case he's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
As long as you can master a pot noodle, you're all good. So a couple of things before we draw to a close. I've got a question for you though, Phil, that you sort of touched on, and I know the answer. Have you met the Queen?
Oh, yes. Well, this is one of my great stories. Well, depending on how you see it. So the Queen, I didn't meet the Queen, but I was close to the Queen. This was, like I said, back in the day when it was Royal Schools for the Deaf, and the Queen was a patron, and she was going to come to visit and look around and meet some of the young people. So lots of fuss. If you've ever been anywhere where royalty is, she had to have her own toilet set aside, which, as far as I know, she never used. Everywhere smelled of fresh paint, all of that stuff. But because of the security implications, the students that we were supporting, everyone was told we have to be standing outside 20 minutes before the Queen comes, so that, I guess, I don't know, the snipers can check everyone's in the right place. I don't know.
Okay.
So we stood outside. So I was supporting this young lad, and he had severely autistic, and he had a few behavioural issues, shall we say, but he was having a great day. But we were standing outside, and just about 5 minutes before the Queen came, we were all stood there in a row, all smartly dressed. It started mizzling with rain. This is Manchester, remember, average day in Manchester, mizzling with rain. Um, and just at the point at which the Queen's car came and she stepped out, and I saw about half the Queen,
Mm.
Jamie turned around to me and gave me a friendly big tap in the middle of the chest, which was his way of saying, I'm really fed up. Why are you making me stand outside in the rain? He didn't have a clue who the Queen was. He didn't care.
Yep.
So I said, should we go inside and have something to eat? And he said, yep. So we went. So I saw half the Queen as she
Okay.
was coming out of a car. And I believe she was lovely. Everybody else who met her said she was very nice. But I thought it was a bit more important that Jamie went inside and had his twiglets than.
Quite right too. Twiglets. We didn't mention twiglets.
Twiglets. We didn't even do
Oh, you
twiglets.
see, it all comes back to crisps, doesn't it? Are twiglets
Yeah.
crisps?
I don't know. Well,
Savoury snack.
savory snack. I mean, that we could have a whole different. Perhaps we should do next year. We'll have a separate extra day just for Christmas-based snacks.
Yeah. Cheeselets. I'm just going to throw that one in before I go to
I think I'm busy that day, but
busy eating. Right. First of all, I'm going to chuck up today's poll, which isn't about snacks. But if anybody wants to fill that one in before we do today's early Christmas present prize draw, do we know what today's early Christmas present is? Anybody? I'm going to hope that Hannah or Matt is on the case with this.
I will double check now. There was something that I was here for. That was one. To be honest, it was all about because of the coffee machine yesterday. I was getting very excited about what we actually may or may not have on today.
Yeah.
So if you bear with me, we've got a darts board with 2 darts and a cabinet.
I hope there's 3 darts in there.
Yeah, I'm guessing it must be.
2 darts.
2 sets of darts, maybe.
That might be
They
better.
come from a
Yeah.
charity. Come from a charity shop, and there's only 2 darts.
So
We'll assume this.
I'm just going to verify this because what's actually come up is not a darts board. Apparently, it's not that. It's a comfy cordless back heater with massager.
All right, tell you what, we're going to let whoever wins choose whether they want the back heater or the dartboard. This is the way we're going to do it today. We're going to freestyle it.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to end the poll and just share that. So, yeah, Phoebe's gone for the back heater. Well, let's see what happens, Phoebe. So, Phil, I need a number between 1 and 87, please.
Oh, 43.
43. Who's in at 43, Matt?
43. 43 is Rob Swarbrick. I hope I pronounced that right.
Rob, are you still there?
Please be there, Rob. I'm having an absolute nightmare of people not being there this week.
We missed it.
He's there.
Right. Rob, what are you going to go for? Back heater or dartboard with 2 or more darts?
2 more darts. Or 1 dart. Who knows?
Could be.
Might be no darts.
Yeah, we need to know, Rob. He's gone with the dartboard. Excellent. Well done, Rob. Excellent. Good choices. Right. That only remains for me to say thank you to Phil for a fantastic lunchtime chat. Really, really appreciate it. And please, everybody, do look into the Professional Association of Assistive Technologists, or PAT as it will henceforth be known. Yeah, we hope you have a fantastic Christmas, Phil.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for hosting me. It's been great to chat about all sorts of stuff. Eating crisps and beards and a whole lot.
Yeah, I forgot to say that Bailey's won out on the go-to drink. I mean, you could put the Bailey's in the hot chocolate. I wouldn't put it in the mulled wine or something fizzy. There you go. Matt, who's joining us tomorrow?
Tomorrow we have, so this is one for all everybody out there. We have Mo Jamil joining us tomorrow. So any of you out there that have ever watched The Voice, Mo won The Voice.
Interesting.
So Mo's going to join us tomorrow. It'll be a slightly shorter session tomorrow, but yeah, we're going to talk about all things to do with what Mo doing now, what he's done, his background and things. Very, very interesting guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, hopefully he won't be asking the rest of us to do any singing though, because then there'll be nobody here.
Do I need to confess that I've never watched The Voice?
Well,
I'll keep my head down.
For the purposes of tomorrow, just say you're an avid fan.
Right, I could do that. Yeah, watched all this stuff. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Right. Thank you, everybody. Please go and enjoy your lunch, and thank you for joining us. And we hopefully see many of you tomorrow to meet Mo and hear his story, which will be brilliant. So yeah, thank you, Phil. If you want to run away at any point, I fully understand. And yeah, again, thank you so much. And if there's anything you would like us to share with the delegates in terms of any of that information, if they might not have grabbed it from the chats, we'll obviously do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're a star. Thank you, Phil.
Cheers.
Excellent. Cheers,
Bye.
everybody. Cheers, Phil. Thanks very much.
Right. Jamie, yes, see you later. Christine, thank you very much. David Barnes, see you soon. Rosie, probably see you later. Rob, absolutely, no, absolute pleasure. Thank you for being part of today. And yeah, you'll have to know how your darts are going.
If it's a whole set or not.
Yeah, let us know how many darts you get. I mean, could be anything. Awesome. Right. In which case, we are going to go and have our lunch. So, Catherine, Danielle, Graham, Jan, Jerry, Rebecca, Rob, and Stephen. Rob, we'll be in touch to grab your address and we'll get it all organised from there. So, right, on that bombshell.
Cheers, everybody.
Take care. Bye bye.